This is the Gamer Gestures Gaming Update Podcast here with episode 40. We have for this episode news on PAX East that just happened a bit ago, some news on PlayStation 5 specs that just came out today, and some Resident Evil news that will be coming out in the first week of April. So, we're going to start off this podcast now with we're going to recap PAX East. Shamrock and I have been down to PAX East, and we're going to recap what all happened down there. So
technically, we've been up to that PAX East. Just saying.
True, it is up. It is up. So, Shamrock, what? I'll let you start this off.
Yes, honestly, for me, I was going to ask you what your favorite experiences were with it, but for me, it was such an experience that first of all, I'm glad it happened because of the threat of coronavirus, especially because there was a case at the time and things were not so severe. I don't want to say they weren't so severe, but it wasn't as potentially massive at the time. So luckily, PAX East still happened. So that was a good thing. It was a lot of fun to be had, though. It was really cool talking to some of the developers at this convention. One of the things we did, we played a game. I don't remember the name of the game, though, but it was a first-person shooter, and we played it with the developer, and we were all on headsets and able to talk to the developer as we were playing the game. So small things like that were really a cool experience, and just seeing, how passionate a lot of these developers are about getting their games out to the public and having people get the opportunity to try their games.
Yeah,
is all phenomenal. So I enjoyed the whole experience. I found the panels to be lacking a bit. Some of the panels, there was the Gearbox panel, which was okay, and they talked a little bit about Borderlands 3 and some of the stuff involved with that and how that made people feel. And then there was a very not at all staged marriage proposal that wasn't.
They never
scripted. And not staged at all. But then WWE superstar Xavier Woods had a really cool panel. But other than that, there wasn't a lot going on as far as some of the panel. Platinum had one too, but there wasn't. I expected more from the panels, but overall, I enjoyed the experience. What did you feel about the whole experience?
So you pretty much sum it up. It was I'm glad we got them down there, and yeah, right after we left was when it got bad. There was like a few cases, but after we left, it sprang up to a couple hundred cases in Boston the day we left. So we got it down and left at a good time. But for PAX itself, I was kind of bummed that Sony pulled out. I was really hyped to get to see Sony and play the Last of Us 2 demo, but I'm glad that we at least got Square Enix and we got to play the Final Fantasy 7 demo. That was amazing. The small, like you were saying, the small developers, the one person who I liked was they made this, Those Who Remain. We got to meet with the developers. I got to talk with the actual developer and got a signed poster from him.
And that was a very cool game, kind of in the I almost said in the wake of Alan Wake. In the vein of Alan Wake. I don't know why I'm saying in the wake, but yes, in the vein style similar to Alan Wake. It was a very exploratory game, like elements of Alan Wake with layers of fear. So it was a very cool little game. I liked it. And then getting the autograph poster and the developer just being cool. That's one of the things that I really enjoyed is that, these developers, for better or worse, had their games for us to see and give feedback with. So there were some that were there that you play them and you're like, this is really bad, but how do you say this is bad without being offensive? But, that's what they're there for, to get the kind of public perception of, our game's not ready yet. It might not launch for a few months, but this is the state it's in now,
Yeah.
But I would 100% do it again. I would love to go. I don't think there's going to be another one this year. I think potentially PAX West is in August, so that's on the shelf, whether that's going on or not. We know E3 just got canceled.
Yep, that's for E3, which is big for gaming. That's like our big gaming news place, and they canceled. This coronavirus is killing everything.
GDC, Game Developers Conference, that was about a week after PAX East. That canceled. South by Southwest, that canceled. Yep, a lot of Comic Cons, Wizard Con, all of them. Literally.
It was, I planned on streaming. I planned to go to 3 of them this year, all within each other, and all 3 of them canceled on me. So far,
Yeah.
Colossal Con is still going on. That's out in September
Yeah.
though, so that might just be long enough out.
I mean, not related to gaming, but I mean, WrestleMania just got not canceled, but it got. Well, I mean, basically, yeah, WrestleMania just got canceled, and now WWE is in a position where they're like, well, we're just gonna do it at our performance center with no audience. So, I mean, like, this is what this is what things are coming down to right
I
now.
kind of feel if you watched, we'll get there right after this. Actually, we're moving on into this. Sony's spec conference. If you watched it, it was kind of painful. They made it look like there was an audience, but if you watch, you can kind of tell that they were still houses. They were not real people, and
They
just the
were.
way they did it.
So it's like a Devolver Digital conference, like when Devolver Digital does their E3 and they have the fake audience, and the woman
Yeah.
who had the nosebleed, who was like almost her head was about to explode. Yes,
Yeah.
that.
They didn't have a
Good
head
job, Sony.
explode, but I'm pretty sure that they had still houses of audience members there, and they kept zooming out to show them, and it was just weird.
It was hokey, but it was worth it.
But speaking of Sony now, I just want to play this really quick before we move on in there, just to build up the hype a little bit.
What are we building?
Taking you back here, taking you way back, way. This is bringing back some nostalgia. I know you can't see this on your end, but I'm playing all of the old PlayStation startups.
Okay, I'm just going along with it, and
PlayStation 1, PlayStation 4, and now we have. Oops, that wasn't done yet. But now we have a sneak peek into this one. The PlayStation 5 startup screen. A little sneak reveal for it. So with that, we have some specs that we want to talk about. Now that we have the concept art of the PlayStation 5 logo was released a bit ago, we got pull up the specs here. I lost them. Here we go. So now we can talk about it. I know you didn't watch it, but I'll fill you guys in. Here's a comparison that I got here. PlayStation 5 versus the Xbox Series X. Specs between the two. I haven't pulled up. I know you can't see. I should have sent them these to you before so you can talk about them as well. But I'll just read them off. The PlayStation 5 and the Series X released theirs a couple weeks ago, and the PlayStation 5 launched today. So right away, their CPU is they're both using 8 times Zen Core. The Xbox is a little bit higher on the gigahertz here. The GPU, again, the Xbox has 12 teraflops, where the GPU on the PS5 is 10.28. So the Xbox Series 1's taking a little bit higher specs this route. They both are sharing the same 16 gigahertz GDDR6 RAM, and the internal storage. I'm not sure what this 825 gigabyte SSD. I thought it was, from what I heard from they were saying, it was going to be 1 terabyte. But
well, I'm wondering if that's like it's the 1 terabyte, but is that like that's just like the usable space they're telling us? Because that's always not the
Maybe.
1 terabyte that's usable.
yeah,
So
they have the system
you
data
don't
and
get the
everything.
full. Yeah, so I'm wondering if that's what it is. If they were just being specific with it, like, oh, you're getting that 825
Yeah,
gigabytes of the of that usable space, whereas 175 gigabytes is for the system to do whatever it needs to do.
that's true. That's weird marketing, because Xbox, they put out 1 terabyte, but you're right, you never get that. So I guess maybe Sony is cutting out that and just showing what you actually have of free space. But before I go into the next specs, I want to go into, there's a bunch of people, and the Sony, they were going into the specs of all this with the solid state. They were doing tests. It took 0.1 0.24 of a second to load 2 gigabytes of data for the solid state drives. Now, I know if no one's big with math, they won't understand, but that's really fast. They were showing off games, no load. They did a fast travel, no load in between. You clicked where you want to go, you instantly unpause the game, and you're right there already. They started up the game in like 2 seconds. God of War, loaded up God of War, 2 seconds, you're past all the screens and you're already in the game. There's with the solid state drive, there's no waiting, no load screens, no and any of that. The downloads are incredibly fast. They were able to download a full game in seconds. They were able to patch it and update it and get everything with a solid state drive. There's no more waiting. Everything is insanely fast.
Now, when they were saying, I'm sorry, I was listening to you talking about. Were they talking about the current God of War, or was it, a hint at the new God of War?
Well, the one that they were showing off was the current one, but there is supposed to be talk of with the PlayStation 5 launch coming Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War, the new series 2. So we have that to look forward to.
Yes, and you know what? I'm actually looking forward to both of them. I'm trying to figure out. Well, not really. I should say both of them in the regard that, Xbox and Microsoft, they're definitely. I think as long as they continue to support Game Pass, I don't have a reason to really get their console. Unless they start doing some sort of console exclusive that they're also not putting a PC.
Yeah. There was some, I don't remember which games, but there was a few games that they said are not coming to PC with the Game Pass, that they're pure Xbox only, but I don't remember which games it was. Anyway, moving on. So that's it for our PlayStation. I got all the specs
quickly before we move on about that. Are you going? Is it something that you're going to get launch, or are you going to wait a little bit?
Oh yeah.
So you're getting it launch?
I'm getting it day one. I'm going to be out there day one getting it because I love the 4, but mine's from day one PS4, and it's no problems with it, but it's starting to get slow because it is day one.
That's my problem too right now. I have the day one PS4, and I just found out the other day that you can't connect to a 5G network on the
you can with the Pro. With the Pro, you can. With the Pro
and with the Slim, yes. But
I never got the Pro.
Realize that. Yeah, I didn't realize with the oh my God, with the regular one, I forgot that 2013 it came out, and we didn't have that 5G connection yet. So
yeah, we did not.
I started connecting my 5G, and I'm like, the heck, why can't I do this?
Yeah, so with 5G coming out and becoming big, 5 will be big time pushing for that. So I'm hyped to get it just to move up and get especially now I have a 4K TV, but my PlayStation doesn't support 4K. So PlayStation 5 will be.
Everyone, and now 8K TVs are becoming a thing, but they're not, as widespread yet. But that's, is that what they said? Xbox was thinking about going up to as 8K, or did I just mishear that?
There's been talk. They're going to have actually Xbox and PlayStation. They both said they're going to have support capabilities to support 8K, but they never really went into any details about it, other than saying it's going to be able to support it.
Well, one quick question besides 8K, we talked about backwards compatibility.
Yes, we did talk about that before. Well, not here. We talked about it before. I mentioned it, but
I remember I was reading today that for PlayStation it was just that they only mentioned PS4.
So
they didn't mention because they. Yeah, I'll let you take it away with that.
Yeah, they have pure back compatibility, but it's not going to be full. They're still having troubles with it, they said. They have a lot of games will be able to play, but some of them, the frequency is screwing up and it's causing errors in the game. They're working on that, and they said in time they're going to be patching it, and it will be completely full backwards compatibility. But that's going to take them a little time. They do have the PlayStation Now store, which will be full backwards compatibility. Anything you get on there, you'll be able to play PS1 games, PS2 games. But as of now, anything that, if you have the actual disc sitting there, some of them might not work because of the frequency problem that they're working on.
Yeah, that was the only thing I was reading about that today. I was reading about that and was like, ooh, this could be interesting. But they said they'll support the, they said the top 100 games or the...
Yeah,
100 most rated or something they said.
yeah. Most of
But
the top 100 best PlayStation games, the
huh.
PlayStation 4 games, would be playing.
Well, that's something to look forward to. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if I'm going to get it day one. It really depends on what's coming out. We'll see what they do for their non-existent E3 for their state of play that they do in
Yeah,
July or June,
I
and take it from
forget.
there because I imagine that's going to be their big reveals.
Yeah, that'll be where we'll see what all is actually coming out, when it's coming out, the price. That's the biggest one. Everyone was asking about the price, but they know none of the consoles have a price set for them yet. We're assuming probably June we're gonna get the price date. As everyone's guessing, it's probably around 6 to 700.
I was gonna say 6, 7. I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be because the specs are so close to like a PC that you could build around that price. So I'm really thinking that's why it's gonna be around that price, 6, 700. That's pretty much nail on the head. I
Yeah,
think potentially, uh, I don't know if I think 500 could also be doable, but I think just the hardware inside of it, I'm leaning more towards that 6, 700, like you said.
yep, that's the way it's looking.
Because basically, they are basically becoming gaming PCs. So
Yeah, they're getting up there. Yeah, their specs are insane. They will be supporting 60 frames per second in them too.
about time. But what were we moving on to? We had Resident something else, unless we
Yeah,
had something else before Resident Evil
nope.
3.
There was the rest of the stuff we'll save for the end. So we had whoops, that was the wrong one here. I lost there.
Was it
There we
Resident
go.
Evil 8?
Resident Evil. So we have some news about Resident. Well, first I'm going to talk a little bit about it. We all know Resident Evil, the remake, as 2 did insanely good and 3 is insanely hyped right now. So we have it's coming out. I didn't look. I forgot the actual date. I have it in my notes here, but I don't want to get sidetracked. So
April 3rd.
you got it. Okay, April 3rd.
Yeah.
I knew it was the first week of April. I didn't remember which
Yep.
date.
Just a little
So
over 2 weeks to go.
was it 15 days?
Yeah, from now,
Yeah.
basically.
So
Good math.
yeah, I've been keeping track kind of. And we got let me pull up the actual what we're going to be talking about. I should have sent this to you too because I have a comparison video between Resident Evil 3. I'm going to send you this link so we can actually talk about this. Let me send this over to you and we'll watch this together and we'll call out what's going on.
All right, so it's a comparison between Resident Evil 3 and what?
Resident Evil 3 versus the PS1 versus the remake. So if you want to go ahead and start off at like 35 seconds, pull it up and go right to 35 seconds,
All right, where did you send it to me? Did you send it to me on?
right on Facebook.
Oh, you know what? If I had my Facebook open, that would be. Sorry, I always have
That
it.
would be.
I always got to close now because
Well,
I'm
when
doing
you
these
open it, I'll tell you
podcasts.
the timestamp, but I'll tell you, I'll start talking about it. So they took
All right, I'm
this,
there.
the same exact things. I'm at 35 seconds. Perfect timing. Look at that. So they took it from the remake. They had the game players and they had brought in this team and they played the demo. Then they had them play the original Resident Evil 3 and the same scenes that they did in the remake versus the original. You're going to see both of them at the same time, seeing the change in the monsters, the graphics. Like, look at how prestige and everything is here. It was great watching the people play who's never played a Resident Evil game before. They didn't play the old ones. So when they were playing this one, it was just fun watching. They didn't know what to expect. And I was sitting back. I played it so many times. So, like, I know what's going to happen here. And just watching the people playing, jumping, getting scared because they didn't know what was going to go on.
Yeah, it's looking good though.
Yeah.
Give it that. Oh my god, I'm seeing that, and I'm just seeing the old. Wow, it's really come a long way.
Oh, do you see the bite part?
I'm just what's the part where she's kicking the hell out of the zombie in the fire pit, and it's
Oh,
that's on not the fire pit, but
yeah, yeah. So I'm a little bit ahead of you. I'm going on 1 minute 50 seconds now. Here's the
whoops.
back to the PlayStation 3. That same scene. This is how it looked back on the PlayStation 1. Sorry, I gotta correct myself. I keep thinking Resident Evil 3. This is PlayStation 1 now. The same part. That zombie in the hallway.
Yeah, the whole thing, and then
Yeah, And this is how, when I was a kid, this is how we play with this graphics over the head kind of thing, weird camera angles running through. You can't really see.
There's the doors.
Yeah, this whole
Remember they
door
had the close
animation
up on the
scene.
doors. Is all I remember as a kid is being the close up on the doors because of like I guess it was easier to load the environments with having the door and then
Yeah, I guess it gave you, that was your load screen, which it worked. I mean, everyone knows what's going to happen here. It's so obvious. But it's the way it gives you something to look at while the door's
oh,
rather
wow.
loading.
God man.
But yeah, it's a real throwback here. Ways to like use the. This was actually, I think they used it in Resident Evil 2 as well. But this was before red barrels were actually like commonly used in video games. This is one of the things that just started it. This was like the first time, well, the second time you've actually ever seen these in games. These were unique.
Yes.
I hate
Yeah.
watching this person play how much ammo they're wasting here when they could have ran back
There's
and
that scene again. There's where she's beating the hell out of the zombie as it's on the ground. Yes. Get it, girl.
yeah. See, just look at how much my style. I never ran out of ammo because I'd run. If you looked in the scene, there's a box you can climb up on before this part. I right here ran back right here. You see, she runs right into it. You can climb up that box and knife the zombies. They can't get up on you. You can knife them and just kill them, and you save so much ammo. They wasted 3 clips there fighting.
I see that. It's so crazy to see the before and after and just like watch it in real time and like
Yeah,
that's
yeah. That's
yeah,
why.
it's
That's
just
why I like this. There's another barrel.
damn.
But just seeing how much work they put into this game and seeing how you can see already it's definitely like less tight narrow hallways type of thing,
Mhm.
and it's more open, it's more city like. It kind of gives me
But
a Resident Evil 6 feel for the environment.
was it that's dangerous territory there? No, but it is. I think a lot of that also has to do with the limitations of the PlayStation One. You had to have things very tight because you couldn't really do.
Yeah,
I mean, we really didn't see open world much of anything until what, like PlayStation Two era,
true.
where we're talking. I can't think of a PlayStation One game that was really open world to the extent of you know of what they are now. But curious to see that now.
Yeah,
PS1. Because it's really just not coming to me. Like, what a big open world game. See, I don't really think any of these. When I'm saying Driver, but I don't think this
it's a good
Driver is an
headshot.
open.
Double
But
headshot right there.
it works. I'm all. Oh, here we go. Back to the old school.
Yeah, this is where we're getting to see.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. Where you see like the whole tightness, and then she just walked right by the red herb.
Oh yeah, so that's where I guess they didn't really care.
She didn't need
Maybe
it.
their inventory's full, or judging by how much
Probably.
they get hit, they're probably gonna need it.
She probably should have grabbed it.
Oh yeah. I don't think they go in their menu to even see what their life is like. I do know they cut out. Look at all the gunpowder there. This is actually no wait. Resident Evil 2 did it well, I think. The where they add in gunpowder, mixing it to make ammunition and make different ammunition. This game, they added so much more with it, though. It was a lot of fun taking the different color gunpowders, mixing them together to find out what they make. I'm going to skip ahead past this puzzle part a little bit just to get to. Oh, here, coming up, I skipped ahead to 6 minutes 40 6:50, 6 minutes 50 seconds. And this part here, I like this. They're taking this out for the remake though. You have choices. When you get into an emergency situation, you have two choices and you have to decide quick. If you don't decide quick, they just break through and they come at you and you're screwed. So you have to decide really fast what you want to do, or else you were stuck getting ambushed by the zombies.
I see that right there, man. It's still
Yeah.
even though it is still like if you look back at the old one, even though it's kind of outdated, it's still it's not the worst looking game on the PlayStation 1. So
Yeah, no, it's actually beautiful for its time. It was praised for having good graphics.
Mhm.
Now you look at
yeah,
them.
like so sometimes like you look back at these old games and then you see like God that aged so terribly, but I don't really feel that's the case. I mean, it did. I wouldn't say it completely pushed the system's limits, but it definitely it worked with what it had.
Yeah.
So
So I'm gonna
so
touch
Capcom was
upon.
very good at that point.
They're still being good. Actually, I'm gonna touch on Resident Evil 3. Nemesis is ranked scarier than Mr. T now, or Mr. X. My bad, not Mr. T.
Mr. T. Yes.
He's
I
scarier than
wasn't
Mr.
gonna
T.
correct you. I really wasn't gonna correct you,
It's the
but I pity
mohawk.
the fool who wouldn't correct you.
Hey man, this that mohawk. But Mr. X. Mr. X was rated for a long time. Everyone was saying how he was terrifying in the game. And now that all these people are playing the demo, they're all saying that Nemesis is so much scarier than Mr. X.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm looking. I'm totally not sending you a Mr. T mod for Resident Evil 2. I'm not. Don't even.
Oh boy, I'm pretty sure one exists even somewhere up there.
I was just looking it up to see. I couldn't find one, but I know one exists.
Let's skip ahead really quick and find a scene with Nemesis, and then we'll move on to our next topic.
Yes, because
Oh.
I want to. Oh, you're not too far. We just
Actually-
gotta go like a
Yeah,
minute
I
ahead.
saw that too. Just skip ahead to
Like-
9 minutes.
Yeah, it just literally just comes crashing through that frickin' wall.
I hate how this person fights Nemesis. I get this is the person I was talking about. They never played a Resident Evil before, and they were freaking out playing this. But just look at, like, they take all, like, they just stand there and they take the hits. Watch this next thing coming up.
Oh, I see.
Here we go.
I think I'm like 10 seconds ahead of you, and I see. Like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, just like throwing her around like a rag doll.
And then picks her right back up after that. But look at, they don't even go far enough. They stand there, get one shot off, and then he throws her again.
I definitely, when you see the new version, I'm definitely getting kind of the Resident Evil 6 vibe you're talking about, where you're talking about, because even though
Oh, you're
like,
at the new one
it's-
already?
Yeah, because I'm a couple seconds ahead. I got a couple seconds ahead by some lucky accident there. But I'm definitely seeing like where you're talking about that Resident Evil 6 type vibe,
Damn.
where you, because like the way he comes out of the frickin' wall and breaks it down, it's like some sort of Michael Bay type movie.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like.
Big thing too with this
Shit.
is just look at his move sets. Normally you gotta run away from him. This one, he's got the vine whip, so you tried running away, he pulls you right back.
Yeah,
He
he's
also
seeing that. It's
has whole
crazy.
new move sets where he'd dive at you right here, I think. Watch this. He just jumps at her right across the map and just gets in front of her. So it makes it insanely hard to just run away from him. Now it's adds the fear back into it because you need to either decide fight him or run, waste all your ammo and you'll be screwed later on, or run away, but you're still going to have a hard time. He will not let you go, and I'm pretty sure they died there.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. It's an improvement, I'd say though. It's not like they didn't need an improvement, but I'm saying
Yeah.
you can
I'm
tell they're definitely.
We're going to do one final thing. If you go to 13-minute, well, let's go ahead to I just want to show off the Hunter betas now, and that's the final thing. If you go to 13 minutes 20 seconds,
I'm there. You
you
died.
died. We're just gonna watch this last scene because I like this the way they did the Hunter betas. It's brutal. So I showed really quick. I showed the before, and this is them evolved now.
Dang.
Just look at this scene right here. That's
Jesus.
intense. That's intense.
You are dead.
Yeah.
You are definitely dead.
Oh yeah, I'd bet you're dead after that. All right, so let's move on to our next topic. I'll leave this play while we keep talking. What else did we have? You had something.
A fun trip down memory lane. Just wanted to briefly talk about if I had. I'm umming a lot today, which is unusual for me. But I have, we have a game coming up that we're doing. That Gamer Jesters podcast is sponsoring. It's an online game based off of. If anyone out there remembers the reality show The Mole, this is your chance to be a part of fun little game we're doing. It's going to be online. If you have a webcam and a microphone, we're looking for you because this is a game of deception and deceit and all that fun stuff. And basically what the whole thing is there's a group of players that are working together to try to work together. But one of those players is a mole, a double agent who was hired by us to sabotage the group's efforts and make sure that the group messes up as many missions as possible. Everybody else has to try to figure out who is the mole. And that's coming up. We currently have auditions going to be going on. We're going to have applications open. I'll have some links posted on the Facebook page on how you guys can all take part of this. It's going to be a fun thing. We're still discussing some of the finer details, so it's not everything set in stone yet, but it is going to be taking place in the summer. Anything you want to add to that?
We're planning, probably our next podcast will have an actual date, but sometime in April we're going to have our first trial beta game, demo game, and then I'm thinking May is when we're going to start up the actual game. I think is when we had our date set.
Yes, all of that, and it's gonna be fun. So trust me, if you guys, if you're too young to remember the show, it was a lot of. It's very much like a live action game of Clue, but a lot more fun.
Yeah.
I think that's the best description of it. Other than that, I don't have anything other than that except for. I'm sorry, I could cut you off there, but
I was just gonna say one of our games might actually be a game of Clue. Maybe we'll set up a crime scene mystery and they have to solve it. That could be a good one.
I'm all for it. Let's do that. That's going to be a challenge. We set it in stone now. But I wanted to close off things with talking about the biggest games that are coming out in April 2020. You know what they are.
Yeah,
we just talked about one of them. We spent 20 minutes on. We spent 15 minutes talking about Resident Evil 3 is coming out April 3rd.
That was my big one. Once they released this showing off before and after video, the comparison, I knew I had to get this on the podcast and show it off. I wanted to show off the full video, but we didn't have enough time for the whole 16-minute video.
So I have a very special episode next. How about it?
I kind of want to do a live stream when it comes out, side by side, new one versus the old one, the entire game like this.
That'd be really cool if you could pull it off.
That would be, but I need a second person.
Well, it depends. If I'm in my new place by then, we'll definitely have to think about that. Fallout 76 Wastelanders expansion. This is supposed to be This was the one that adds the. What did this add? Do you remember what Wastelanders added? Because
I think this is the NPC one.
Yeah, I was thinking it was the NPC. I didn't want to say it and sound stupid, so. But in case it wasn't, we potentially think that's what it is. Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out on April.
Oh, I could tell you. I didn't even get to look this one up. It's April 10. Just looking at the poster on the wall back there.
Deliver Us to the Moon was a game I wanted to play, but it's not coming out until April 24th. It's like a cool looking indie title, but I didn't see that was on there. Predator Hunting Grounds, the same people who gave us Friday the 13th, so that could go either way. Moving Out, which is one I really want to play, but I'm upset because it won't have online co-op at launch. So if you have a PC and you can use Steam Play to play 2 players, or Share Play on PS4 for 2 players, that's one way around it. But I'm waiting for the co-op, man. Waiting for the co-op, the online co-op.
Is there a patch for it? Did they say anything? Are they gonna have one coming up?
They are saying that they will. It is something that they're doing, but on launch they're focusing on just having a launch, getting through the launch. But then they said in the future they are planning on doing some sort of update to implement an online co-op. But for now, their suggestions are using Steam Share and PS4 Share Play. So that I think they're kind of going to see how it goes about. I'm sure you're familiar with Moving Out. They had a presence at PAX East. I didn't get to play it because they were packed. Yeah. No pun intended, but they.
I've been following it a bit too. I like those type of little indie games.
Kind of like an Overcooked vibe to it, except with moving and obstacles. Originally, I thought it was supposed to be like a Stadia exclusive, but I guess it's not even coming to Stadia. I remember hearing about it being on Stadia, but I guess that got scrapped or something. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that they do the online because I want to play it, but I think they're kind of waiting to see how sales go before they do any of the online expansions. Because if it sells well, then they'll do it. If not, they ain't gonna put it on.
Yeah.
So buy the game, people. All right, that's it for me. I don't know if you got anything else.
No, that's all. So I'm going to wrap us up. Be sure to check us out on Facebook as Gamer Jesters.
Facebook.com/GamerJesters. Yes.
Yeah. And then we're on Twitch. We're on YouTube. This will be posted on Jester TRT YouTube. I'll have this video up. We'll also be on, you can take this one. Where else will we be on audio? Spotify. And
Oh, yeah, but there's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. There's other ones that I'm not thinking of, but
be sure to
those are the
check
big
us.
ones.
We're on all of your favorite podcast clips, so you can check us out anywhere.
Everything except for Pandora, which I'm working on.
You hear that? We'll be there soon.
Yes.
And with that, our outro clip song.